Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Capture the Flag event. I have Clark here from Secure Code Warrior, so I'm going to let him explain the rules and how to use the tool really quickly. The tournament is open right now, so I will try and not take up any more of your time. Take it away, Clark.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen here so I can introduce everybody. Share screen. Great. Ben, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. All right, so welcome to the DevOps DC. Actually, that's wrong. This is the OWASP Nova tournament. So thank you so much for joining. My name is Clark Silva, and I'm with Secure Code Warrior. Just a little bit about the company and who we are and what we do. Secure Code Warrior is a company that's really out to inspire developers to embrace a preventative, secure coding approach every day so they can deliver better quality software. In other words, we're a company that's really trying to help organizations and developers maximize the secure coder inside of every developer. We do this a little bit differently, though. Unlike traditional training courses where you might sit inside of a classroom or read a book or go for a 3-day seminar, we're actually a platform that you can use to log in and actually work on secure coding skills within your language and in your framework. And this has proven to be really useful for a lot of organizations. And as it turns out, it's just a better way of learning because you're actually doing and you learn more and you improve your muscle memory and you just become a better secure coder overall. We have a platform that has 4 different areas. Today, you're going to be in the tournaments area and you're actually going to be doing what we call a challenge. But there's a reason why I want to introduce all these other items to you, because as a thank you for joining the tournament and doing the tournament, we're going to provide you access to the platform for 2 weeks after the tournament. So you'll be able to go into the learning area where you can do a deeper dive into your language and your framework and do more challenges across different vulnerability categories. You can actually do a course if we had a course specifically made for you, or you can do an assessment if we had an assessment made for you. But most people will use the platform to do some of the training activities on their own. And I just want you to know that besides this tournament today, you'll have access to do this. And if you want to practice in a different language, you'll be able to change the language and just really enjoy the platform. So that's just a little bit of who we are and what we do. I just want to make sure everybody's aware that we are a company and we're looking forward to having you folks experience our product today. What I want to do now is actually walk everybody through a sample challenge so you actually know how to navigate the interface while you're doing the tournament. So if you give me a moment, I'll switch screens here. When you log in, and by the way, if you know how to log in already and you figured this out on your own, many people do, feel free to drop out of this session and go and practice your tournament and enjoy. Or if you're new and you want to learn more, here we go. When you log into the platform, you'll want to come up here and actually go to the tournaments area. And when you go to the tournaments area, you'll find the tournament that is set up for you. In this case, I'll just log in. This is a test tournament that we've got. And this front screen is configurable if you don't want to be from America and defending America. If you want to be from Spain and defend Spain, you can make that change, I think. But for the most part, this is just a screen to let you know you're about to do some activities. On the upper right-hand side, you'll see your tournament progress. There's a number of questions, and I'll review how many questions there are in a minute. But this is where you can see your progress. And then I believe we have a leaderboard that's also live as well, so you can track who's in first and who's in second. On the bottom are the active challenges for this particular tournament, and there are various levels. Now, if you want, you can start at the lowest level and work your way up to the highest level. But maybe in the last hour, if it's getting late and you want to get more points, maybe you'll pick on higher level challenges. So you can do that. You don't have to do this in order. You can do it in any order that you like. But what I'm going to do right now is start a challenge so you know what the interface is like and what you'll be doing most of the time. This is just telling me I'm going to do a level 7 challenge. It's, an objective to protect this electrical company from attacks. And I've got some different challenges that might come up around injection flaws, maybe XML. Regardless, I'm going to go ahead and accept this challenge. And it brings me to a very common interface within Secure Code Warrior. On the left-hand side, it's going to tell you what you need to do. In this case, I need to locate a vulnerability. The second stage will be to identify the solution for that vulnerability, and then I'll have completed the challenge. So in this example, I'm looking for an injection flaw, SQL injection. And on the right-hand side, we have the code that is highlighted. You can jump to different areas of the code by using this jump button, or you can jump to different parts of the tree by using this quick switch. But we've done this so you don't have to read the entire code base. You can actually go to the sample code that we're highlighting. So this is a little bit of a usability capability. Now, if you want, up here on the right-hand side, I like word wrap enabled. If you don't, you can take that off. Suffice to say, this is really the nuts and bolts of the interface. So in this example, I've got SQL injection here. I'm pretty sure it's this one because you're never supposed to concatenate things. But what I might do is take a hint because I'm just not sure. Maybe this is a difficult challenge. So what I want to do is take a hint, and I'll press this hint button. And when I do, it warns me that I might lose some points for a hint. We'll talk about the scoring system in a moment. In this case, a small movie comes up, and it's about SQL injections. Now, you certainly can view the movie, and if you'd like, you can actually download the PDF of this content and keep it for yourself. But that's really the hinting system. If I wanted another hint, it would give me another hint, but I'm not going to take another hint. I'm going to choose this one as the answer. I think it's the right one. And once I highlight this area, I will go ahead and click next and see if I got it right. Now, I did get it right, and it's telling me why. If I got it wrong, it would also give me a reason why I didn't get it right. So whenever you make a choice, always look at the feedback because this is a learning opportunity. So with that first stage of the challenge done, I'm going to go ahead and identify the solution. This is a slightly different interface. On the left-hand side, we have the vulnerable code. And then on the right-hand side, we have various solutions to choose from. In this case, I'm on solution 1, but it's probably important to look at all the other solutions to figure out which makes sense. On the left-hand side, you've got the code that's wrong. And then on the right-hand side, you have the code that's correct. So I've looked at solution 1, looked at solution 2. Let me check out solution 3 and maybe check solution 4. And I think this is right. I'm not going to take another hint. I'm going to go ahead and choose solution 4 and see if this is correct. And sure enough, I did get it correct. If I got it wrong, I'd be able to retry it. And so let me do one more challenge and do it wrong so you know what that output looks like. Once I finish that, it brings me right to another challenge. So the system will remember where you are. If you want to close out, go get a coffee or a break, come back, fire it back up again, or just leave it open. That's okay. You'll never lose your place in the tournament. This particular one is locate a vulnerability, invalid redirects and forwards. I'm just going to pick this. Stage failed. That wasn't right. This particular item is not giving me any info, so I'm going to go ahead and retry it. And maybe jump to a different code base, and I think I'll choose this one. And I'll click next. I got this staged wrong. I'm going to go ahead and skip this and move on to a different challenge. Let me click next. Stage failed. I'm going to go ahead and retry, take a hint. I'm going to say, give me another hint. It's going to remove some answers for me. Great. Last hint to have it removed, and I'm going to close it. Well, I can't get a wrong answer for you. I'm sorry about that. With that said, I will let you guys go ahead through the system and learn about the feedback that you'll get when you get the answer wrong. But just remember, if you get it wrong, you can retry it. So, apologies for getting the answers right. That really never happens. Back to the challenges and the tournament itself. You'll have a number of languages to choose from. So when you log in, go ahead and choose your language. We've listed the languages here. Most likely there's a language that you're going to be familiar with. And here are some of the questions. You're going to have some categories for mobile, web, as well as API and desktop. A number of challenges at different levels. And remember, the types of challenges are going to be different each time. But for the most part, you're going to be asked to identify something or locate something in the first stage. And in the second stage, you're going to be asked to fix the vulnerability by finding those particular solutions. It's really quite simple. Now, for those folks that are hyper competitive, there is a scoring methodology. On the easy challenges, you can get up to 100 points, the medium 200, and the hard challenges up to 300 points. You do get an attempt of 3 times, and then you get no points. But if you get it right on the first time, no points are taken off. If you get it right in the second time, you're going to get 60% of the points. And if you get it right on the third attempt, you'll only receive 30% of the points. Now, the hinting systems, this is important. When it comes to locate a vulnerability or identify a vulnerability, that first stage, the first hint is always free. So go ahead and take it. It'll just, take more time, but it'll help you learn. It's when you take the second and third hints in the locate and identify stages, the first stage of the challenge, where you'll lose points. When you do pick a solution, we just reviewed that, you're going to lose 30% of the points for each time you try. So if you miss one, you're going to get 60% of the points. If you miss 2, you'll only get 30% of the points. And that's really all there is to it about the scoring system. You'll have until 8:30 tonight to complete the course, the tournament, and we will log back in to find out who the winners are so you can get some prizes. What's at stake here is a Secure Code Warrior hoodie for the first place contestant, and then we're going to have some t-shirts for second and third, and maybe some extra swag like some stickers. And that's really about it. Everybody should have the URL to register and actually log in. For those of you that have done this tournament before and maybe have logged in with your same email before and it's not working, try using the first part of your email plus SCW and then at Secure Code Warrior, whatever your domain is, and see if that helps you get in. If you have any challenges, just let us know in the chat and we'll see if we can guide you through it. Ben, that's it. Over to you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, so thanks for that intro and for walking us through the tools. I did a couple of sample examples within the tournament, so everything is up and running. I got, I think, a whole 100 points, so I'm on the scoreboard. Feel free to beat me or whatever. So the plan for right now, for all of you still in the YouTube channel, is that I'm going to go through a couple of, as many training examples as I can over the course of the next 2 hours. Every half hour or so, we'll take a break to look at the leaderboard. And, I'm going to go through I'll show the languages they have available, but it amounts to, actually, I can do that right now. There we go. So I have this right here is the training interface. So it looks a little bit different than how the tournament would. You can see the training tab is obviously selected. I plan on going through a couple of basic Java examples. Then I'll go through some JSP, maybe some Android SDK, fun stuff. And then I will do a couple of problems within the tournament, time dependent. So that's the plan for right now. And Clark, I don't know if you want to be on or off or whatever. I don't need to show you in the panel, and you can just let me know as
your teachings are going to be above Your teachings will be above my head, so I'll probably take a back seat. I might check in a little bit later, see who's leading the tournament, and I'll certainly join you right before 8:30 so we can figure out the winners and announce the winners and collect their info.
Perfect. So let's plan to meet up back at 7 for just update on the leaderboard, and then we can move from there.
Perfect. We'll do. All right. Enjoy, everybody.
Thanks. Okay, everyone. So this is impromptu. I'm just going to walk through the problems as I see them. I'll walk through my analysis. I don't work with Secure Code Warrior. My experience is mostly from a year ago, the last time we hosted this same tournament. So I'm going to walk through the code. I'm going to explain my reasoning, and then we'll just try and move on from there. Now, I am going to be moving much faster than I would like to. So a lot of my initial impressions might be wrong, or I might misinterpret what's being shown to me. However, hopefully you'll learn something, or at least learn how to analyze, or at least a different way of analyzing secure code. So without any further ado, let's start looking at injection flaws and broken authentication. Sorry, I'm going to pause for 1 second. There was a comment in the YouTube channel. So the question is, will this be available at a later time? And I'm going to say the tournament itself is only running for the next 2 hours. So obviously after that point, you won't be able to enter in and win the free sweatshirt. But the training will be available for the next 2 weeks. And if by this you mean the YouTube video, that's obviously always available on the OWASP Nova channel. So that's 3 different answers. Hopefully I've answered one of them. If you still have any questions, just please let me know in the comments section. So I'm going to start with A1 injection. This is Java Basic as the language. So it should be really simple to sort of walk through. More or less, this should look almost like the pseudocode section, because hopefully all of us learn through Java or one of those basic languages. All right, so the first thing we have here is an injection flaw that is through LDAP. Let's see, so the impacted potential lines of code that could contain the vulnerability are shown in this panel. There are a few of them. Right now we are in the user, can't scroll over, the user implementation file. So this is where the LDAP injection likely comes in. There's a couple of times where we might start off on a different file and we sort of need to look through, let's say the login controller or a different controller, different Java file, different file within the source code to find where the vulnerable code exists. But generally, I find that it does start you off in the right place to analyze it. So these are all the different options. If I want, there's only one code block that I need to correctly identify. There's a couple of other examples where you have to do 2. I haven't experienced one where you have to do more than that. So it's usually pretty straightforward. So let's see what we are working with. The first line is new user ID. This is unlikely to lead to injection flaw. So what I'm looking for is a place where the user has control of an input parameter, which then gets stored, or yeah, in this case, it's definitely stored. For cross-site scripting, it would be something that might be rendered back to them or something along those lines. For SQL injection, you're looking for a database interaction. So let's see what we have here. Okay. So this is a interesting one. So we can see the string that's being created is built off of this person input. Now, at this point, I don't know whether or not that is directly vulnerable, but it is worth looking into further. Obviously, also the user login, something that would be generally controlled by the end user. Then we have the various controls that are being set up. Okay. And so here we go. We are returning the user data and various attributes of that user. This is likely to be where I would think something would be injected. I'm going to keep looking, though. I want to look into a couple of other files as well, just sort of get an understanding of what this is doing. Although, again, I'm moving very, very quickly and trying to pinpoint exactly where to focus my attention. So I'm moving quickly while trying to also explain my logic and reasoning. So let's see here. Just some of the other files I want to see what's going on here. So we have the authenticate user. We are looking at, okay, so we're looking at some login fields and the text that is being passed in. Let's see here. And in the, oops, see if there's anything lower than here. Nope. Okay, then in the registration controller, we have, we are getting everything there. Okay, so we are getting, the data itself. Getting the user data. So I'm going back into here. Just a few more chances. Okay. All right. So we're actually creating the LDAP connection. Sorry, we're creating the user there. Possibly entering in their data for storage. Let's see here. So I'm going to go back into this one because this is where I think it was. Yeah, I really think it's this impacted line. So let's see how this looks. Oh, nope. So I was wrong. Off to a bad start. All right, the search query of the LDAP directory, which is generated from the user's input string, is inserted into without any checking and verifying. An attacker who uses such vulnerability can gain access to confidential information or harm data. Okay. So I'm going to do a second chance, and then if I don't figure out where the problem is, I'm going to just move on. Let's see here. You know what? I'm just going to skip this one. Can go back to it later. Here we go. So this one will be a lot easier to show. It's an injection flaw with path traversal. So I'm looking for where a potentially uploaded file is going to be entered into or uploaded in and stored by the application. So let's see what we have here. Yeah, this isn't really associated with path traversal or any real injection flaw. Okay, so we are creating the new file name based on the file name parameter, which is okay. Yep. So that is says the path parameter right there, which comes into the path. Yeah, so this is where it will be created. The file name is being passed in. And so this is where the vulnerability would be introduced. So I'm going to say this one. Cool. So I got it right. So I'm 1 for 2 right now, which is a good sign. Use the input parameters without proper validation to build the file path to download team statistics might allow an adversary to have access to any other file in the system. So yeah, being able to pass in this file name parameter could allow you to do .. or to overwrite an existing file, depending on how things are handled. Now I am going to try and resolve this. Few solutions. So the first solution is to just remove what's being passed in. To remove that the file name is being passed in, and to instead save the file name based on an environment variable. So that would solve one problem by creating another. It would prevent a malicious user from being able to enter in their own value or perform path traversal. However, it only would allow you to upload a single file. Any other file after that would get overwritten every single time this code gets run. So this would solve the security hole, but it wouldn't. It would create an entirely different problem. So I'm going to keep on looking. Okay. So what we have here is, again, the file name is being passed in. This line is not being altered at all, but let's see here. So we have, if the file cannot execute, then the file is not executable. This doesn't solve the problem, so I don't believe this is the correct answer either. Let's see what, so the only changes are in this one file, and this is the change itself. I don't see this as being a good solution, so let's keep looking. Here we go. Okay, this looks a little bit more promising. Okay. So what it's doing is taking whatever file name is passed in and adding .text to it, so that would, in theory, render certain executables or batch files or malicious viruses from so adding the .text to the end of something would kind of, the point is, I don't think this would be the right answer. It would kind of solve the problem of path traversal. So for example, if somebody were to enter in, file name, then, it would be .. say etc password .text, which would obviously not exist. So this, I don't know, this would technically solve some of the issues with that. And I'm going to try and solve this really, really quickly. So let's see. Okay, this looks much, much better. Let's see here. So this is whatever the extension is. It tries to get it based on the file name. And then if the extension is an exe, I don't like this one either. So all this is really trying to do is prevent bad extensions from being uploaded. Let me see here. So I might have to go back on one of the things I said and try and figure out why that would be the right answer. And we are about pushing up against 7 o'clock to do an update on the leaderboard. So I'm going to try and solve this as quick as I can. So let's just start looking at the solutions themselves, and we can just sort of do compare and contrast. So let's see here. So all this was doing is removing the file path. And so where is it getting the file name parameter from? Oh, I see. So this is comparison between the two. Okay, then I don't necessarily want to do that. So I'm going to start off this again. So all this is doing is trying to use get the file name from an environment variable, which I don't necessarily like, but it would resolve the issues. It's kind of it's a solution which would resolve the problem, but it would also bring up a new one. So the question is whether or not it's better to overwrite the same file multiple times in order to prevent path traversal, or if it's better to see some of the other solutions. So let's see here. So if the file can execute, if the file cannot execute, then it is not executable. And that's all that this checks for. So this uploads the file first and then checks whether or not it's executable. If it is, it throws an error. I don't really like this. Let's see here. This one, yeah, it tries to add a .txt to the end of it, but that would prevent certain path traversals. But if there is a match for another file as a text, I think that would still hit here. So I don't think this necessarily would prevent path traversal. Let's see the last one. Yeah, it checks the file name, so whether or not something exists. Yeah, so I'm going for number one, even though I don't necessarily like how it opens you up to overwriting the same file, but this does resolve path traversal in my mind, so I'm going to go for it. Okay, cool. So it's recommended to avoid using unvalidated input, which is what we did solve. With file name, the application is not using user-provided parameters to download team statistics. Okay, so I misinterpreted what was going on. This was only getting a specific file rather than looking for a file name. And it looks like Clark is back, so we can get an update on the scoreboard.
Hey, here for a moment. One thing I noticed that you were doing that, you're like, I don't like how this is done. If you go to the help section real quick, and this might be good for the tournament goers if they're even listening. It's to the left of Java Basic up on the upper right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can click submit bug or feedback. And what it remembers, if you do this, it remembers this challenge, it remembers this answer, and you could say, hey, I don't like this code, or I don't like this question. I think it's misleading, or the solution doesn't do this. We love to hear that developer feedback, and we actually take it in and then optimize or maybe reconfigure this challenge in the future to make it better. So I didn't know if you knew if that feature was available, but it is.
I didn't, and thank you for that. But that was 100% my mistake. I was misinterpreting this. It's like you said, it's a GET request right there. I should have recognized that you're downloading a file, so obviously you would know where it is, and you're not uploading a file, which would then allow you to overwrite something that somebody already uploaded. So it was 100% my fault.
There you go.
Misinterpreting it. So,
well, to see the tournament, let's go ahead and click on your tournaments tab real quick. I'm not sure if you've joined yet.
I did.
And this should show the leaderboard. There you go.
So yeah, so we got a couple of 2,000 points right there. Looks like they are going into level 2. They've completed all level 2, if I'm reading that correctly, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So yeah, level 1 and 2 are done by the first place person. And let's see here. Yeah, it's looking pretty good for first and second place. I've already done all level 1 and 2 challenges, which is intimidating.
Yeah, nobody's used a lot of hints yet in the leaderboard, and Steven has only gotten one question wrong, really. So he's doing very well.
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. So yeah, we can jump back in at, I don't know, do you want to do 7:30 then? Do another checkup?
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll do a check at 7:30. It sounds great. And cool. Don't be shy with that feedback.
Yeah, I will try and do better about recognizing if it's an issue of me reading the code too quickly, or if it's an actual concern within the examples.
Awesome. All right, enjoy. I'll be back.
Cool. So yeah, we are back to mission control. Sorry, let me go back to languages. So we have, yeah, I did do basic. And let's do some cross-site scripting if that's available. Yeah, cross-site scripting right there. So let's see what we are working. I guess it's not available. Not applicable for Java basic code snippets. Okay, so there are examples here. So I can go into one of the other languages, JSP, and figure out some cross-site scripting there. But for right now, I'll just jump right into broken access control then. And I'll do a couple of examples here. Okay, so there is one vulnerable example. We're looking for missing object level access control. This can come in a variety of different forms. So it might be an ID parameter that isn't properly checked or something along those lines. So let's see what we are working with. Okay, so if the method annotation is not present, permit all class. I don't think that's where the issue is. If the roles contains, okay. Let's go here. All right, so we are getting the file to download. This seems like a good candidate. So we have the get stats, missing object level access control. Okay. So if the file doesn't exist, then you'll say the file was not found. That's it. I think it's right in here because there should be like an add authentication or I forget the actual syntax, but I believe that there is a check right there to make sure that you have a specific role to access the file itself. So I'm going to go with right here. And sure enough, yeah, the application does not verify the user role to access the file. As the role-based access mechanism does not work correctly, an attacker may get the data with minimal effort. File may contain valuable information. So yeah, stats, that could be anything, but that could be say like a company's performance metrics for the past 6 months. So this is how you could access it, and you would only want that to be available to say HR or somebody along those lines. So let's see how we can fix this. So solution 1, roles allowed, that is a empty array. So that is not what I would anticipate to be the correct solution. Yeah, so the solution 1 only contains that one line of code, and that is not the correct solution. So let's see what else we have. Okay, good. So roles allowed admin. This looks like the correct answer to me. You're only allowing somebody with the administrative role access to view and download this file. That seems good, but I'll keep going. Yeah, permit all. That's kind of defeats the purpose. So that is clearly wrong. And lastly, we have, roles allowed administrator. Okay, so the difference between these two is whether or not admin is defined or whether or not we want the explicit role to be administrators. So I think this is technically the correct syntax. Let me just do a quick string search to make sure that admin is not in use or some other parameter. Okay, so, all right, yeah, so it actually tells us here where we have a different requests that actually have it done correctly. So I'm going to stick with those. And we'll go with solution 2 and the actual example. Cool. So you had already used the annotation roles allowed. Had I have read through more of the source code, I would have clearly seen that. and this limits it to the admin user as opposed to being the string value of administrator. Okay. Let's see, IDOR. So insecure direct object reference. So just reading that again, similar to what I was looking for last time, I'm actually now especially looking for this time something where the ID value may not be viewed correctly or may not be validated correctly. So starting here, we have response. Okay, so we are looking for get response status based on the status and entity. If it's a success, it goes through, builds the thing. If there's an error, it throws an error. I don't think this is where I'm supposed to be looking, so I'm going to go here. All right, so let's see. Permit all. Well, that immediately throws some concerns there, but let me keep looking and see if there is a better answer. So we are, this is the function to verify the code and confirm ownership of an email. So in theory, if you have permit all, you would be able to view anybody's email, which seems like it would be the issue here. If I'm able to iterate through all of the emails on a server, that would be bad. So I would probably want to limit this to maybe whoever has access to that email account, or in the similar to the last example, we'll only limit this functionality to administrators. But let's see what else we have. Okay. So so we have here, this is also interesting. So we're getting player info by ID, and the fact that it is available to the user manager and admins is fine. However, I don't see anything which explicitly locks in a player ID to a specific role, meaning that sure, it's fine for administrator to be able to iterate through all these IDs, but do I really want to allow user 1 to be able to get the info for user 2? So this right here, I definitely think is an issue, but let me keep looking instead. Yeah, so this is get a list of all players, and so that's perfectly fine for the administrator. I don't see any issues there. Let's see here. So you want to be able to create new player info. That's perfectly fine to be able to allow a new user to create a new player profile, player info. That is perfectly fine. Let's see here. Ooh, remove player info. Permit all. Huh. I could see this as being an issue. This would be a much bigger issue than the other instance, where anybody could then delete any user's data. So there are situations where you can freely look up another user's information. So I don't know what this application is for, but there's a lot of like gaming things where you could look up somebody else's info. So being able to search for somebody's could be valid. So this right now is actually screaming to me as the instance of IDOR, insecure direct object reference, where anybody would be able to go to the specific path and delete a given ID, a given user's account. So yeah, I do think that this is a better example than this one, where it's looking up player info. I think that being able to allow anybody to delete a user is going to be bad. So I'm going with that one. Cool. So this application is allowing to modify the player account by just providing the corresponding ID. An attack could take advantage of this IDOR, this direct object reference, to perform unauthorized operations. Yeah, you could iterate through the entire database and delete every player in what I'm assuming is a game. I probably should, look through and seeing exactly what this application is doing, whether it's, say, a gaming app. But again, I'm trying to go through as many of these examples as possible. So right now, let's just move on to solutions. All right, so solution one, yeah, only allow admins to delete users. That looks good to me. But let's see what else we have. Okay, so we are allowing any user to delete. Okay, so we're allowing any user to delete themselves. That could be useful in case you want to remove yourself from, in case you want to remove your own access. Perfectly valid. Yeah, so it explicitly says that the method is available for self as opposed to admin. So I wouldn't necessarily go with, I would go with this example over solution one. Let's see what solution three has. Okay, so we have roles allowed. So it's the user themselves, and they aren't actually able to select the player ID. Ooh, that does, yeah, to me, this screams the correct answer. So let's see, because it takes control away from any specific user and only deletes their own account. So they aren't able to iterate through to any endpoint and provide, it doesn't allow an end user to interact with the application to a specific endpoint and a specific parameter that they provide. It instead natively only deletes their specific account or their specific object, which I would say, oh, okay. Let me see what the difference between 3 and 4 is, because let's see here. Huh. It looks like there isn't one. It looks like this. Ah, there we go. Okay. So the only difference is in the player listener function, where the remove action yeah, so functionally in the player consumer, they do these look completely different. What happened? Let me go back and look at solution 3. Okay, this looks completely different. So I probably accidentally selected solution 4 when I was going for solution 3. Yeah, so that was my mistake. I still like solution 4. I'm going to go back and look at solution 3. Oh. So they perform the same, they do the same thing in this specific file, but in the player service one, there is some differences. So I need to analyze those. So let's see here, delete. So again, the delete function doesn't take in a user parameter, which is what we want. It's based off of the own user's object. And let's see what we have here. Oops. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the solution 4 because it takes so this does look different than what I was seeing before. I might go ahead and flag this one because when comparing vulnerable code to solution, so now this does look different, where the remove function has the claims object. I still say the solution is number 4. Yeah, this looks the best to me, and I'm going to flag this, I think, because solution 3 didn't update. So solution 3 looks like solution 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and flag this. Cool. Solution 3 solution 4 until I did a the difference is apparent. Okay, so that's interesting. But yeah, I'm going to stick with solution 4 because again, it's taking control away from the user and it's deleting that own user. So let's see here. Nope. All right. And an attacker, although an attacker will no longer be able to use a direct link, the application logic is violated because the access token is not used on the player microservice to obtain the current user ID. All right. Let me. I'm going to retry this one. Let's see what we can do. So solution 1, only the admin is allowed to do it. That kind of defeats the purpose of allowing the player to remove themselves. Okay. So this is limited to the user. And okay, so it's this one then, because we are actually getting the ID based on the user object. No, all right. Well, that means that it is, that would mean that would be solution 3, which I cannot view correctly because this was actually the solution to solution 4. So I'm just going to go back and skip this. Actually, you know what? I'll skip it. I'll view a solution. Let's see here. Yeah, so it was 3, which is a shame because oops. Yeah, that's a shame because I couldn't fully view number 3. Okay, so it's recommended to avoid exposing internal application objects by direct links without proper authorization. Let's see if it shows me it now. Okay. So it does handle things a little bit differently. All right, well, I'll just move on from there. So we have another IDOR. I'm going to actually change the language so that I can do something really quick. Let's see here. Let's do JSP. Let's see what's in here. And we can do yeah, let's do XXEs. Okay, so our goal is to identify where an XXE could be introduced. So we have checks whether a string is null or blank. No, it's not likely yet. Checks the file size. That's useful and important, but not likely where an XXE would be introduced. I'm looking for somewhere where the XML is actually being read in. So we have here is check the file extension. Again, important to do, but I don't see this as being XXE. Let's see here. Okay, so we are adding the employee object to the list. This could be where something could be introduced depending on where the elements are being entered. But I don't think this, so yeah, it's likely within the file upload. So we have the file upload service and file upload servlet. So I'm going to go through these systematically going down. Let's see here. So the first thing that we're doing is disallowing, ooh, this actually looks pretty good. This is similar to how you would, this is the first steps to preventing XXEs, but I don't think that would introduce the XXE vulnerability. So what we want to do is see, okay, creates a saved directory. Here we go. Extracts the file name. Looking for a little bit clearer of an instance. Let's see here. So we have do post. Okay. Utility. Right. Okay. So, oh, I don't remember these off the top of my head. So this is the important things to remember, but these are pass parameters, so external general entities, external parameter entities, disallowed doc type. If these are not set correctly, then this would be where something would be an issue. So we have the values themselves where it's getting the various schemas from. I don't remember these off the top of my head, so this is going to be a tough one for me. Now I actually have load external TTD here, which is probably, let's see. Disallowed doc type. Oh, that disallowed doc type is false. Yeah, that I think is the issue right there. So it's not setting the various, it's not configuring the XML reader correctly here, which is what I think the issue is. Okay. So I'm getting pinged. No, that's fine. So, right. So the processing of untrusted XML files with a weakly configured XML parser can lead to an XML attack. CTF attack uses external entity references to access arbitrary files on a system or carry a DOS or SSRF. Even if the result of parsing is not returned to the user, out-of-band retrieval techniques allow attackers to steal sensitive data. Okay, so let's see how we can set these features correctly. The first solution is to set them as strings. No, oh, well, it's saying everything is false. No, that's definitely wrong. Although we do want to, yeah, I don't like this solution. So we want to allow general entities as false. Yeah. Here we go. This is what we were looking for. So we are preventing external entities. So this, I believe, is the correct way of doing it. I'm going to go ahead and accept. Nope. All right. Deciding the parsing of external general entities and external parameter entities is an improvement, but the code will still be at risk of denial of service and server-side request forgeries. Okay. So what we want to try and do is implement a method that sets these values to false, but also disallows that, which means that I think it's this one. Yep. Awesome. Okay. So properly configured XML reader, disallow doc type. Make this solution secure. The best way to mitigate XSE attacks is to prevent parsing of any DTDs. Cool. All right, so I can bring Clark in and we can get an update on the scoreboard.
Yeah, how's it going, Ben?
It's going all right. Making a couple mistakes, but learning definitely.
That's the trick. All right, Sydney is making it interesting. There's a battle for third going on, clearly. That's usually what happens in some of the tournaments. There's somebody that breaks away because they didn't get any phone calls, they didn't get any interruptions. They take the lead, and then it's usually a dogfight for like third place. That's great. Yeah. Moving up on the levels. As a quick reminder, this leaderboard will go dark towards the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the tournament. I forget which. So if you're here and you're checking it and you can't see it, that's probably why.
All right. Well, then we can do one final check at 8 o'clock, and then it'll be a sprint to the finish.
Sounds great. And by any chance, do you know Steven, Sydney, or Sarah?
I do not.
There you go.
But yeah.
Well, awesome.
Again, without all of the FaceTime to see everyone, I'm sure there's plenty of people who show up regularly who I have completely forgotten names, faces, everything. So that's on me. But I do recognize a few of the other names on the leaderboard, which is really cool. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's 19 total. So that's great. That's a great turnout. Mm-hmm. So I will leave you to it. I'll check back in with you at 8 o'clock, and then at 8:30, we'll find out who the winners are and get their information and sizes. Awesome.
Perfect.
Take care.
Yep. All right, so we are going back to training, and let's see what we can do here. You know what? I'll move into Android, and I will do... I like reverse engineering. Let's see where we can find some reverse engineering. So code information leakage. We are looking for an instance of code information leakage. So what I would expect to see is maybe some kind of logging to console or something along those lines. We have toString, yeah, but that's not really telling me anything. This is logging, but it's logging a specific string and not, some kind of error message. Let's see. So we're setting the backup to false. Oh, right. That's my mistake. Yeah, so going too quick. So this is the pin display toString. Yeah, I'm going to go with this line itself. Nope. All right. When printing logs in production version of app, an adversary could abuse this to gain sensitive information. I guess I'll start using the hints first, because I don't see how not allowing a backup would lead to that, but it's, I don't see where else it would be. All right. Oh. Okay. So refresh token not valid. Code which is written under the build config, Boolean isn't compiled when built in the APK. This will prevent an adversary from gaining sensitive information about the app. Okay. Sure. So how would I fix this then? So we're changing it to debug. Okay. We're just removing that line altogether, which would solve some things. Well, I'm going for the quick and dirty solution. Just remove the line where something's being logged. I don't think that is correct, but you know what? Let's take a hint. I haven't done that yet. While the use of Boolean might seem like a good solution, it does make it more difficult for adversaries to abuse the printing to stack trace. There's a more secure solution. Okay. Let's view solutions. Oh, cool. And it actually removed 4 for me. All right, so let's see what we have to work with. So if the logs get enabled, then we print stack trace. Sure. If we're in debug, this one I like. Cool. Code which is written under debug, Boolean isn't compiled when building the APK in production. Awesome. Let's see what we got here. Emulation detection. Cool. So we are trying to figure out if we are in an emulator. So this is actually more of a defensive thing, where you might be able to do more harm than typically if you're opening something within an emulation, you're trying to determine whether or not it's vulnerable, if there's any malware in there, if it's trying to connect to a command and control, make outbound connections, etc. So let's see here. So right now, if you can execute Sue or BusyBox. Interesting. This is more for figuring out if you're root than if you're in an emulator. But I won't knock it out. That is a possibility, because if you're root, it's more likely that you're doing some low-level things. Let's see here. If you're package manager, I don't think so. Well, if is emulator. Probably a good idea for emulation detection. So we're in this file. What about this one? All right, so we have the login view model. Nothing much to do with emulation detection there. And we have some references to loading URLs. This website wants to access your location, messages. Yeah, I'm going to go with is emulator is a good way to check whether or not you're in an emulator. Really? Huh. Okay. Check if the manufacturer name is Genymotion is enough to prevent emulation. Commonly used emulator. However, this is just one manufacturer. There are many others. Okay. Huh. Yeah, really don't like this answer, because that's trying to figure out whether or not you are root. That's pretty bad right there, but you're in debug. Let's see. Login view model. Login view model. Okay, so we have some build types here, but again, that doesn't really tell me whether or not we're in an emulation. Support RTL. Huh. Yeah, you wouldn't really be able to set that within the configurations. You know what? I'm going to go here, because if you are running root, there's a high likelihood that you could be doing something else. So I'm going to go with that one. Nope. All right. Yeah, so I was wrong to begin with. I kind of knew that, but I still selected it anyways. Just reveal answer. Okay, so by calling the method on the first activity, an adversary can't abuse emulation on the app. Detecting emulators is the best effort method. So I don't understand which. Yeah, so it's this line. So, oh, I see the problem. Okay, so what I did was I selected the isEmulator function when I should have done the results itself. Okay, that's fair. So let's see what we have for solutions. All right, I like this. Trying to check what is going on inside the, what else is being run, what kind of manufacturer you're going with. So this is a lot of different types of tests to see whether or not you are in an emulated environment. That's all good. This one just is the app tampered with. Well, that is not really sufficient. in my mind. Again, it's a good thing to check whether or not the app is rooted, but this issue was associated with the emulation. So this is to check whether or not the application is being emulated. So whether or not your hardware is Goldfish, that's good to check, but it is not a good enough solution. Whether or not the model contains emulator, whether or not the brand starts with generic, whether or not the build starts with generic. Okay, so those are traits of when you are being emulated, but yeah, this one is by far the most robust, and so whether or not the model contains emulator. This solution actually contains, whether or not Goldfish is the build hardware. This contains the other solution, so this is the most robust answer in my opinion. Cool. All right. Lack of binary protections. I don't like this one. Okay. So there's only 2 left of this control group, so I guess I might as well just do lack of binary protections. Lack of adequate security controls. That's very generic, but we can figure this out. Okay. So this all seems pretty straightforward. I don't see anything malicious in there. The lack lack of adequate security controls. Okay, so this is setting up the key based on the calendar, which would be weak, but I don't see those binary protections, so I don't see that there. Crypt. Yeah, I would say that this is the most likely culprit. Although I don't understand quite what this category is looking for. I mean, yes, this would be a weak control, but I don't see binary protections. Nope. All right. Developer wants the application to run on devices running sufficiently high SDK version. Oh, okay. So that would be the Android manifest. This right here. Cool. So yeah, the problem was that this was failing to run on a lower version. Okay. I'm just going to continue. Like that one. Let me see here. What else is there? Okay, so saying a min version of 7 and a target version of 23 would be a better solution to this. 7 is significantly lower, so 19 would obviously be better. Well, if we set the min version, that puts us in the same boat. So I'm going to go with 3. Nope. All right. Okay, so I went the more conservative route, and they want to not do that. They want to go here for the min SDK version of 23, I think. Yeah, cool. All right. So let's go back to mission control and let's pick out, I like this one, insufficient cryptography. Excuse me. People are calling and or texting and or not leaving me alone. All right. Insecure generation of encryption keys. Okay. So let's see what we have here. We're generating the JOT. Don't see anything excessively wrong there. So the key algorithm is Android key store. Okay. So what I'm looking for is something that generates the key cipher type. Okay. Yeah. All right, I was looking for an insecure key generation method, and it looks like this is it. Where is cipher type set? So it's using AES, GCM, and no padding. Yeah, I think there is a more secure method that should be used. So I'm going to go with that one. Nope. All right, great. A wrong configuration in the key configuration parameters. Okay. So that means it was this. Oh, I completely skipped over this. Whoops. Okay, so the JOT key separator. Let's see here. Well, use of insecure deprecated algorithms, MD5 is immediately jumping out at me. And let's see here. Yep. Okay, yeah, so I'm going with MD5. That is a dead algorithm, not what you want to use for hashing. Cool. Generated assault is good. Using the bcrypt is a much better function. Let's see what else they have, though, for solutions. SHA-1 is not the right solution. SHA-256. And no, let's see here. So we are encoding the string, then encrypting it, then doing all kinds of complicated things. No, I think that the best solution is the first one where we just hash the pin. I see this as being a much better solution than encrypting it. So, yeah, cool. Bcrypt is accepted by the community as one of the stronger hashing algorithms. Cool, cool. And we incorporate assault in there too. Use of short encryption keys. That doesn't. I'm trying to find an interesting example to demo. So let's see here. Let's go back to mission control and insecure authorization. Let's see where that gets us. And whether or not I can do it in 5 minutes. So using inputs from untrusted sources, insecure authorization. Okay, so we're trying to refresh the token using the role parameter. Let me see here. I would say that this is the one that is insecure and untrusted. It's a post request coming from a form where you're making an appointment based on a string value name. I don't see any verification that the name value is being secured, so, or being verified, validated. So let me see here. This one. Could also be an issue, but not for the same reason. All right, I'm going to just, yeah, it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm just going to say the product name and string name because this is being passed in the post parameter. And it is not being validated. Nope, awesome. Well, it's not really doing anything with it, so let me see where we are trying to do something with untrusted user input. Ah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so it's this one. We are saving the refresh token based off of something which comes in from the response body. Wait. That doesn't make sense now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so we are trying to get the appointments that are available based on the device ID and context. I'm going to go with this. We are out of time. So, nope. All right. I will accept a hint. It's okay, get some help. Okay, give me a hint. Authorize access to some application resources based upon information from external, if you recall. Number of ways this can occur. Insecure or incorrect authorization checks with malicious assumptions about the validity of the claims. Okay, that's fair. I'll see if I can do this very, very quickly, and then I'll pass this off to the leaderboard for one last check. Let's see here. So where is this vulnerability? Can't remember if I said this one already. I thought I did. Yeah, so I'm not going there again. Oops, all right. Well, then I will just hand it back to Clark, and we can go see how the tournament is going. Ooh, nice. So there are about 30 minutes left, and we have a pretty good race between first and second place.
Yeah, what level did the top three get to?
I see level 4 completed. I see level 5 completed. Great. People won't stop bugging me on my phone. Level 7 partially completed. Yeah, looks like they've gone pretty far into level 7, both the first and second place.
Cool. I think there's 8 levels, so chances are they might actually finish.
Nice.
Excellent.
All right. Well, then we will go in, and I'll skip through the training, and I will jump right into the competition itself. Let me see here. Oops. Can I change the language though? Is it possible to change the language?
I think once you join the tournament, you've already picked your language, and then
Gotcha.
I don't think you can change it once you go back into it. But for the rest of the folks, let's say they did the tournament in Java. Once the tournament is over and they come back into it, if I can trouble you, Ben, to go ahead click on the training tab, and then go to languages. This is where you pick your languages for practicing and playing. So I don't know which language is active right now. There it is.
I think I did JSP or something like that. So
Yeah,
I can just stick with it.
Awesome. There you go.
All right. So we have 30 minutes left. I will see what I can do. Let's start with level 1.
I'll let you complete this, and I'll check back in at the bottom of the hour. Remember, the leaderboard will go dark with about 10 or 15 minutes left to play.
Cool.
Oops. Cheers.
Yeah, see ya. Okay. Let me start off on a new clean file. All right, so we are looking for plain text storage of sensitive information. Plain text storage of sensitive information. So I'm looking for Maybe password being stored incorrectly. So let's see what we have here. We have the request itself. We are getting specific attributes. Sorry, we are getting specific attributes. We are saving those various attributes directly. Oh, well, that's it. Social security number is being stored directly in the database. So let me see if there's any kind of obfuscation or anything along those lines. Huh. Okay, so the real question is, where is the vulnerability itself? Is it where you are getting the post or where you are entering in the data into the database? I would say it's within the post. So right here, where we are passing, where we are saving the social security number as a direct string based on the parameter that is passed within the request. So I would say this is where the vulnerability is. Oh, I was wrong. Okay. Plain text storage. Right. So it's got to be this then. Where we are actually storing the social security number in the database and along with your medical history. Yeah, I'm going with this one. Cool. So it's being stored in the database. So that is where the storage comes in. How would you solve this? Maybe by hashing the social security numbers or encrypting them even better, because it wouldn't make sense for you to hash them. So let's see what we are working with here. So we are going into setting up an encryption key. We have AES-CBC. A little bit weaker encryption than I would like, but it is definitely better than nothing. We have the encrypted social security number. We have the encrypted medical history. So this is, ooh. Yeah, and this is just saying that the symmetric key itself using secure random, so that looks good. I will have to dig into this code a little bit more to see if there is a single symmetric key for everything within the database, or if each item itself is generating new. I'll see what the rest of, okay, yeah, so I'm definitely going to have to dig into the code and figure out whether or not, that's going to take time. I got to figure out whether or not the same key is being used to encrypt everything. If there's, say, a master secret key. So let me see what else I'm working with here. Okay, we have nothing in this file. This file's being removed. Yeah, so changing this to a cookie is clearly wrong. You definitely don't want to store your social security number or medical history as a cookie. And the last example is to create, yeah, so this is clearly a joke. Your data will certainly be stored securely. I am not seeing that being, oh, here we go. So let's see here. I see base 64 encoding. I do not see this as being the robust solution I would hope for. Yeah. So I'm going to say that it is clearly 1 or 2. And so now I got to figure out which one of these is creating a new key for every every single user. So bear with me for a moment as I look into the code and try and figure out what's going on. Let's see here. Okay. So we're having the same issue as before where solutions 1 and 2 are looking the same. Huh. So I am seeing the same issue as before where the comparing this to the vulnerable code in solution 1 shows me all of this, whereas solution 2 appeared to be the same, but I know that's not correct, so I need to figure this out. Or I can just skip this and move on, which is what I might honestly do. Yeah. Yes, I don't see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I understand what's going on now. Okay, that is. So these do the same thing with the master key. The difference is that there is not a padding exception catch. What? I am tempted to just skip this one because I'm seeing things which don't make sense. It's saying that this. Oh, I see. Hold on. Let me try and switch these around. So we'll do solution 1 over here, solution 2 over here. Okay. So solution 1 adds in a bad padding exception, but everything else is the same. Huh. Seems odd. Then we have solution 3, which yeah, this one's solution 3 is clearly wrong. Doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, I really like solution 1 thus far. So let's see, one last chance to figure this out. No, so this doesn't do, yeah, so I'm going with solution 1. All right. Oh, did I miss that? AES is used in combination with CVC for encryption. Server will spawn with a different message that the padding is incorrect after decryption. This allows for padding oracle to occur. Okay. So then I guess the answer was 2. Right. Cool. Okay. So weak session token generation. me see if there's another flashy one that I can find really quickly. So we basically have time for one more example. Okay. Not what I want to do. Sorry, I'm trying to skip up to level 2 to see if I can find something really quickly. All right. Deserialization, no. XSS, okay. This should be good, hopefully. Mixed server and client-side rendering. It's unlikely that this associated with the prepared statement. I think, oh wow, this is going to be very, very short. So we have the item itself. I think this one is the issue here. So we are, see, we're getting the shopping list from the database. Okay. Huh. So this is again where there's some issues. So this, if you're able to enter malicious input into the database, this is where it would be rendered for cross-site scripting. Entering in something, insert into shopping list item. Yeah, so entering in an item would be how this would be introduced, but the issue itself is client-side rendering. So I think it is this one, because this is where the string itself is being generated. Cool. Yeah, so they're creating, generating HTML on the server side. The client has to unescape input and the server to display the HTML tags properly. Cool, cool, cool. So let's see what we have for solution. Okay, this is I forget what the wording is because it's not, we're trying not to use blacklist anymore, but it's reject list. Here we go. So reject listing, where you are stating if you see, the greater than less than symbols, reject or replace all of the instances of them. Now, there are different ways of rendering this. So if you're able to say %3e, if you're able to store %3e or some other encoding of the greater than or less than symbol and put it in the database, then it could still be rendered in here with HTML. And people do not stop bothering me. I do apologize since my phone has been going off pretty consistently. Let's see here. So the solution is here. Okay. Slightly different solution, but I don't see this as being correct. Let's see where okay, this is much better. So we are returning the shopping list. Now, where is it getting that from is the bigger question. Okay, yeah, this has the same issue. Sorry, I keep getting pinged, and honestly, I can't think clearly right now, so I am just going to I do apologize. There's a lot going on in the background. Let me think. So, just want to say that this looked the most right because I think everything else included reject lists, which I did not like. That's not the best justification for why I think this is correct, but let's see what we go with. Cool. So, happen to be correct. All right, let me try and see what else we can do here with the 10 minutes we have left. Okay, using known vulnerable components. This should be pretty easy. I would expect this to be possibly a vulnerable dependency. These are potential issues, though they aren't. I wouldn't necessarily associate them with using known vulnerable components. Let's see what's here. Oh, jQuery, perfect. 1.6.2 has known vulnerabilities in it, so this could potentially lead to a vulnerable application. Easy enough. Using an old version of jQuery. So let's see here. The best possible solution would be to go to 3.2. 3.2. It's not sliding over. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. 1.6.2, again, not the ideal solution. This is much better. So it's getting the code from, a legitimate website, an updated version, and it's checking the hash value of the file, which is all good things. Let's see if there's a better answer. No. So I'm going with 3. Cool. So it uses the latest version of jQuery from a trusted content delivery network, that being code.jquery.com. Yeah, and there's a bit more information here about how if that CDN is attacked, then they can then upload a malicious file there. So that's fine. But then you have this integrity feature for, well, it's difficult to show now, but as I explained, it showed the hash under there, which was an integrity check for that specific file. So even if that does get compromised, you can check it against that and load it in if it matches. Cool. Debug information, I would probably just be looking for something that should either be included in debug or the words debug where it shouldn't be. So I'm going to try and find something else that is interesting. And it looks like all I have is deserialization, which is a little bit more difficult to go through. So I am just going to back out of here. All right, we got 6 minutes left. Let's see if I can do a level 3. Okay, so we have a choice between these. Access control, security misconfiguration. Oh, identify the type of vulnerability present and select it from the options below. Ooh, this is fun. Okay. So we have the methods, contain methods, string expected. We are getting the cross-site request forgery token. So okay, this looks good so far, so it's very difficult to read. And I do apologize for those of you watching this. I'm going to highlight now to just try and make it look better. So if the expected value is empty, the CSR token is null, so it's blocking. So they're blocking the request. Seems good. If a token does not match what's being expected, then it throws an error, which is good, and something went wrong. Okay. This all looks pretty straightforward. The only thing I can think of is that the error messages are not very good. So I'm going to say insufficient logging and monitoring. Cool. Yeah, so I would want to say, you're trying to do something, you're trying to perform a forbidden action, or maybe, yeah, that's where I would go with that. And just seeing a whole lot of something went wrong in the logs would not be very helpful. So let's see what we can do to fix this. You're logging the method and the request. That doesn't necessarily tell us a whole lot. You still have these something went wrong, so this is not the solution I would want. Log.warn, access denied reason. Better. Still not what I would hope for. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to need to dig into this a little bit more. So we have the access denied reason. CSR token is null empty, so we block the request. Okay. And we are appending the array itself to the string. Yeah, this is a lot more in depth. Although I think you might be running into issues where you are saying this to an array of strings. I am going to have to apologize because I have 3 minutes left before the tournament ends. So I am going to run through this right quick. Info multi-part request now. Oh, that's the problem. So you're setting the access denied reason, but you're not actually logging it. So I'm going to go to, was it this one? Yeah. Log.warn, access denied reason, CSR token is null. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good to me. It's better to log something than to print, than to output it to console. Let's see what it was for again. Significantly more in depth, but I don't think we are actually gaining a lot from it. I think this would be the best answer. Cool. Saving all suspicious activity in a log file. This helps in monitoring, and we are good. So I'm going to go back to the tournament, and let's see what we can do for the leaderboard. I think it's, the leaderboard is currently closed right now, so you'll find out where we're doing in a minute. Hopefully there are questions, and I keep getting pulled in, so let me see what we're doing. There's a unrelated Slack. Oh, cool. Never mind. So that was Slack messages that did not have to do with this meeting. Like when those happen at off hours. Sorry. So we got about 10 seconds left, and then the competition will be over.
Interesting. There's a delay of 10 seconds between the YouTube stream and what's happening on your StreamYard.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. Well, there's no fanfare, but Stephen, you have won the competition. So yeah, Clark, do you want to?
Yeah, no, excellent. 11,000 points, a clear winner there. It looks like third place was really just a couple of challenges at best. I mean, that was very, very close because there are a lot of challenges where you can get up to 500 points, right? 300 points. So very close race for third. And that's it. Hopefully people learn something. It's not just about winning, but hopefully people enjoyed the experience. They learned something. And the great thing is, Ben, if I could just trouble you to click on that training tab, this is where most people will go. Pick a language, any language, and you can go in there and practice some more challenges. And then finally, click on the resources tab, Ben, which is the last one over to the right, the resources tab.
Sorry, there's a.
Yep.
I have a thing saying that I'm sharing my window in the way of that.
Gotcha. And you can come to the resources, and we've got some added things there. So if you click on web app security, for example, you can come in here and then look at some other items. And this is where we hold the content for the hints. And it's just an area. So if somebody's working on some project in the next couple of weeks, it's about cross-site scripting or what have you, they can come in here and maybe learn some of that instead of going in and doing challenges. And that's it. Everybody will have access for a couple of weeks. If I can trouble you, Ben, to ask the first, second, and third place winners to send you their mailing address, if that's okay, and their sizes, and we will go ahead and get some things shipped out to them. Else, we can take a screenshot of this real quick, and I will do that now. And I can look up their info later, but it'd be great to hear from them. Yeah.
That was from last year's. My mistake. I will get this year's up. Here we go. Cool. Yeah. So if the following three people, let me stop my screen share for just one second.
You can also put my email in the chat, which is csilva@securecodewarrior.com. Once again, that's csilva@securecodewarrior.com. And have those folks email me their size, and I'll be happy to get them their swag.
Sure. So yeah, that is 3 different ways of contacting us. So we have, csilva@Secure Warrior. That's Secure Code Warrior. So it's the full name. So csilva@securecodewarrior.com. You have the OWASP Nova email address. You have the meetup group itself. All of that are adequate ways to reach out to us. And I will also try and make an effort to, I will also try and make up an effort to reach out to you individually as well. So please do. If you're uncomfortable, sending me your information to then forward on to Clark, I'll send out his information as a follow-up to the meetup.
Awesome.
All right. And yeah, thank you everyone for participating. I hope you all learned a lot. I know I did, namely that I need to slow down when I'm reviewing source code. Yeah. And we don't have any updates for our next meetup, but we have a couple of events planned, so please be aware, and we'll have something, I think, in September. We definitely have one coming up in early October, and I look forward to seeing you all at our next event. So take care.
Thank you, Ben. Take care, everybody.